Bordeaux, Chablis, liqueurs and Jamaican cigars, all thrown in free with each 1,200 quid single ticket. In what will the supersonic passengers of the future be dining? The man who could be flying them, First Officer Christopher Orlebar.
Well, I would like to see a second generation supersonic based on Concorde, built by the Americans, the French and the British, longer range, same speed, and carrying something more than twice the number of passengers that we can.
I think since the Wright brothers took to the air some 80 years ago, man has always flown faster and faster. It's my firm belief that there will be a Mark II SST, but it'll need certain things which Concorde hasn't got: more range, more capacity for passengers, and I think it'll have to be quieter in the airport environment.
It will be a formidable task, for the present Rolls-Royce Olympus 593 engines are the most efficient in the world. Will it be possible to develop them further?
The sort of improvements we can bring to a second generation aeroplane are of the order of 5 to 10% improvements. Those are the sort of improvements we can bring. So the major improvement, the major effort, has got to be made on the airframe. And the airframe, just to use a number that describes airframe efficiency, in the Concorde we have a lift over drag ratio, which is the aeroplane efficiency, the aeroplane man's efficiency criterion, a lift over drag ratio of about 7. And what we need to make an economically viable second generation is a number like 12 or 13. So we're talking about a great leap forward. Today, there is the aerodynamic technology to achieve something like 10, 11 maybe. That still isn't good enough, because we still can't sweep the board and do a 400 or 500 aeroplane sale, which would be needed to justify this thing. So I'm afraid the future of the supersonic transport depends totally on progress in wind tunnels and on the airframe technology. And as soon as those chaps are ready, we, the engine men, will give them the engine they need.
And then Concorde will expand from its present size into a much larger aircraft. Preliminary studies have been made around an arrow-shaped delta, carrying 280 passengers at Mach 2, with far quieter engines. But the question remains, will it ever be built?
Well, I'm optimistic just because I suppose I'm an optimist, but it's a bad time to talk to people because everybody's obviously has to be completely absorbed by the current recession. But I can't help feeling that times change. Maybe, hopefully, we'll find that it's perhaps a more peaceful world that we live in the future. And if people don't have to build quite so many military aeroplanes and quite so many missiles, all of a sudden you find there's a big upsurge in activity towards civil programs. And if money became available, I've no doubt there'd be a very great motivation to take the next step, but you're not there at the present time, and I don't think one's likely to see this happen for quite a time.
Off Cape Cod, Massachusetts, the present-day Concorde, Alpha Delta, begins deceleration from